So we've already done the Zen Pond. Why are we back? Well, at the end of that build, we had a very important meeting, Patrick and I, with the homeowner. And it turned out that when we turned on their stream, they were starting to lose about 4.5 inches of water out of the pond every hour, which is crazy. She asked, is there any way that we could just do exploratory search and rescues to try and find this leak? And I said that at the end of the day, that could be such a rabbit hole to go down. We shot our shot and we said, look, the most value I can give to you is if I take it out, do it properly, make sure that there's no leaks, and then put everything back with the look and feel and the spirit of the stream that you love. And that's what we did. So here we are, and we are back at the Zen Pond. But as you can see behind me where the buckets are there, we are coming up the hill and we are tearing out this waterfall feature. It leaked, unfortunately, like the Zen Pond itself, and now we're just completing the works. We're gonna make sure it's all beautiful and running perfectly the way it was intended, and I can't wait to show you what we do.
The waterfall was built by the homeowner. The more and more we dived in, the more and more we realized this was probably a fundamental issue, which we were able to find as soon as we started lifting the stones. What they actually did is a way that we've seen way too often. What they do is it's multiple pieces of liner and they're butt up to the edges of the rock, and then they use concrete to actually try and waterproof it. But unfortunately, it just doesn't work. And if it does work, it doesn't work for long. It ended up being a more fiscally responsible and better use of everybody's time to actually just rip up the whole thing, keeping in mind the design intent. This was so important to the homeowner, so it was really, really important to us to make sure we didn't fundamentally change anything, and we kept the design aspects that were desired during that original build.
We have cleared all the rocks all the way down and the liner. How does it feel? Whoa, that's a big rock. So day 2, we'd like to start with a waterfall that comes here, almost like a 6-foot pond. That's gonna go to here. We're gonna remove that. And then it's gonna start down for the stream all the way down to the bottom. So you can see we're starting to map out where we're gonna drop as we go down and into the pond. Here we are, end of the week. We were able to get the liner in. So the idea was to put the liner continuously all the way down the stream and then put in more manageable size boulders, but still maintain that armor stone look and feel. There's our progress. Got the big boulder in today. And then obviously we come at it with the small stuff. So we're ripping out the biofalls that we just put in last year. Why? Well, I guess you're gonna have to keep watching in order to find out, aren't you? I didn't have Lysol wipes or clean anything, so we're going baby wipes today. Okay, so we are completely sealed all the way around, and I'll be able to cut this liner out, and then we'll be able to finish our waterfall.
Okay, Came to go see Sean and Jesse and their project. Not to help, of course. That would be terrible.
So far we're feeling pretty good. I think, you know, this challenge was to keep the spirit alive of what was here before. It's just what was here before leaked. So now we have the liner all the way through and throughout. We were able to use some of the same feature boulders that the family loved. So I think that will be a highlight. And then we found these great granite stones. There was some here on the property, but we also brought stuff in from up in Peterborough from Maynooth Granite. So even just the pea stone, if you see this, I'll take you over here. It has some beautiful coloring. I don't know if you can see that, but fantastic coloring that I think is going to shine through as the water's rushing over it. And then of course we had an extensive crystal collection here before, so after we're done throwing all the rock in, we're going to find some great places that we can put that back in as well.
I really like the pooling that you guys have added in here. But was that with intent or a happy accident?
Yep, so we wanted to create some shelves, but I also wanted to create some pools and some spillover areas. It's really about also controlling where the flow was, because down where we're connecting the two materials, obviously that is one of our main challenges to make sure that it's not running along the backside of the wood on the inside here. So part of this bottom pool is that when it spills, it shoots this way now instead of coming along here, which was a bit of a leak point earlier on. There was lots of leak points, but that was also, that would have never gone away if we didn't make that choice. With the shelving over here, I wanted to create a split rock. So we have the one area coming along here, and we wanted to create and go to where your feet are on one side, and then have the other like joining down here in the middle. Yeah.
And the sound of it after pooling is going to be a much nicer sound than if it's just going over the rock.
Well, that was like a key thing for the homeowner, and the original intent was to have sensory overload no matter where you are here. Mm-hmm. So in that standpoint, our old falls used to be at the top that you could see from here. So what we have done now is we're changing the angle of the falls so that the falls come out here first, because this up here is where they park. So they will be able to hear it at the top, they will be able to hear it as they walk down the pathway, and they'll be able to hear it down all encompassed at the bottom. Well, rainy day here at the Zen Pond waterfall build, and sounds like the thunder and lightning is coming in, so we are going to have to run away. Well, to say we had some rain would be an understatement. This is the site. Pond and area are completely flooded. I've brought 2 pumps to make something happen here, and here we go. Hopefully our equipment's not damaged. Had a pretty major flood here, so we got all that sorted. Everything drained. I love how this is all coming together. Okay, this is that moment, the moment we've all been waiting for. Turn on the waterfall. Basically, we find out if we're heroes or if we suck. Here we go. Okay, we'll start it out of 3. Water's coming. Here's the big test. Oh, it's coming down on both sides.
Somehow this worked out exactly how I imagined it, where every single drop, every single cascade happened the way I pictured it, which almost never happens. And I do love that no matter where I walk in this garden, there's a new aspect of sounds and sights.
Okay, here we are at Red's Garden Center, just outside Acton. And we're grabbing plants for the Zend waterfall. So we got a plethora of plants here to go in the ground, and they even had a sale on hostas, which was fantastic. So we're all loaded up, we're ready to go. Thank you, Reds. Hasta la vista for now. So final day here at the Zend Pond. We are putting in this beautiful stream to match our beautiful pond. Lots of activity going on. We brought in some extra help. We got Rick here helping Jesse. He's doing the berming and the planting up at the top around the water source. And then I'm working on plumbing and getting this thing flowing. So what I'm doing here, we have rerouted up at the very top. They had a hose that was hooked up to the irrigation. So instead we've split off the hose to bring it down here, and then we run it through the sidewall. And then the intention is that A, you could run your hose off of it, and B, there's going to be a autofill attached to this. Basically, exactly what it says. Once the water gets a little too low, the fob will go up and water will pour out. So it'll take it back to the level intended. The owner had found this old well pump, and he always wanted to use it in here somewhere. And for the last couple of years, it's kind of just been laying on its side in the dirt. But now we've brought it down, and we actually fastened it to one of our artificial boulders and ran the pipe through so that when the waterfall runs, gravity feeds it and it pumps its way into the feature. So we put it on the side of the tree there, and now it's incorporated. Yeah, I couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier with how this turns out, how the morning light hits it, how the evening sun, when the sunset goes down, and I've seen both. I couldn't be happier. This is truly one of my favorite 50-foot streams that I've ever built, and I can't wait for the next one.
So I've been working largely up here today, just trying to disguise the edge of the pond there and hide the plastic and stuff using moss and rock. And Sean directed me to create little zones of clusters of smaller rocks mixed with larger rocks here and there, and just do little clusters of plants and stuff, so it's kind of breaks up the visual plane as you go across there. Here's a kind of a lush kind of zone, but then we have sort of arid rocky zones for these succulents that hopefully will like the hens and chicks and stuff, they often like to just get in between rocks and stuff everywhere. Moss over by the fern, and this rocky slope over here, it's going to be a nice zone for some hens and chicks plants to come and occupy all of that.
Wrapping up here at the Zend Pond waterfall, and I couldn't be happier with how this is turning out. We've extended the garden so that you get this sort of flow all the way around. We've planted some of the water lettuce in the back amongst all the other plants, so whether we're in the water or outside, lots of green. This looks like the whole water feature up here, but then continues down all the way to the pond, which was what we wanted. We wanted to create sensory overload, whether you're up here up top or as you walk down through down to the Zen Pond. And yeah, this thing's fantastic.
You're gonna see as you go through that there's some pretty precious stones. That's a beautiful moss rock, some crystals as you go all the way up, and those were handpicked by the owners, and it's a big part of the whole Zen feel in here. So you're gonna see a lot of precious gems and stones throughout the whole area down here. So we tried to put them back and incorporate them the way we think that they would have wanted at each level of the stream.
So we're just about wrapping up here, and I think the greatest compliment that we had was on that rock 2 days ago in the morning. I was working there, and this little gray tree frog was like sleeping in this moss bed on the rock. So if you build it, they will come. And so we built it and they came.